Hey guys, Madison and Rylan here, and today I want to talk about a little something that's become very important to me, breastfeeding. So here's Breastfeeding 101. So as you all know, I'm recently a new mom. Rylan here is 5 months old. He just turned 5 months this past Saturday. And he is exclusively breastfed. There's some things that I wish I would have known before I started breastfeeding, and some things that I've learned since I became a new mom and started breastfeeding. And I'd like to share them with you. Point number 1, you decide what's right for you. There is a huge rise in breastfeeding right now, and that's great, but there are many moms who decide that breastfeeding is just not the right fit for them, and that's completely okay. Whether you breastfeed your baby, pump and feed, use supplements such as formula, nothing is wrong. You're the mom, you know your baby, you know your body. When your baby is first born, it's normal for them to drop some of their birth weight. I had a nurse who told me that my baby's birth weight had dropped and I needed to start supplementing formula because my body wasn't producing enough to keep up with my baby. Keep in mind, I had not even been a mom for 24 hours. I had my son 5 weeks early. I had not had the breastfeeding awareness classes. I hadn't had any of the birthing classes. I had no idea what I was doing. And so when she told me that my son dropped weight, I freaked out. She pushed me to supplement with formula and give him an artificial nipple. I did eventually do that because she stressed me out so much, which is another thing you should keep in mind. Stress can limit your supply, and other people causing stress on you can have an effect on how much you produce, which ultimately has an effect on your baby's weight gain and their health. Not to mention your own mental health and stability, which is very important as a new mom. Dropping the birth weight is normal. When a baby is first born, they have all of that meconium in their body that is eventually going to come out in the form of poop for their first diaper. When babies have their first poop, which, prepare parents, it's really nasty, tarry texture. It's gross. But it is a huge weight, and it does cause babies to lose a little bit of their birth weight when they're first born. If you're still stressed and you're in the hospital, please don't hesitate to ask for a lactation consultant. I personally had a great experience with mine. They provided a lot of feedback that really helped me to get Rylan here latched. Don't care about what other people think. Don't let them stress you out. Breastfeeding is definitely becoming more popular in North America, and women feel more free to breastfeed without a cover since it's not illegal. But that doesn't mean that we don't still get odd looks from strangers. Rylan had a huge issue latching, and he personally hates things being over his face. So breastfeeding him in public could be a real hassle because I had to whip out the cover and then he would flail and knock it off, and I ended up flashing people anyway. And the real problem was that he had a really hard time latching with something on his face. So eventually I just went without the cover. I'm not doing that. I'm not breastfeeding in public. I'm not trying to reveal myself to offend people. Using a cover is very uncomfortable. Not for me, but for my son. He doesn't latch well. He hates things being over his face, and especially living in this humid North Carolina weather, it's 1,000 degrees under that cover, and he gets so hot and so sweaty, and he starts to really feel heated and claustrophobic. So if it's between feeding my baby and making sure that he's healthy and looking out for other people's comfort level, I'm gonna choose my baby. Breastfeeding is hard. When you're pregnant and people talk about breastfeeding and how they are exclusively breastfeeding, it sounds easy. It sounds so natural. I had so many people tell me, "You'll be fine, it's the most natural thing in the world." Well, even though it's natural, that doesn't mean that it comes so easily. It hurts at first, and one thing that people don't tell you is right after you give birth and you start breastfeeding, you have contractions again because your uterus is contracting back into shape. It's painful, but it only lasts for a few hours, and ask for extra Motrin. And another point, your milk doesn't come in for about 72 hours after you give birth. Now, there definitely are some people who are exceptions to this. I personally wasn't one of them. Breastfeeding is difficult, but it's wonderful. If you can stick with it for the first little bit, even though it's hard, even though it hurts, even though you'll cry, you feel like all you are is just a food cow, stick with it if you can. And if you can't, if it's too hard, if baby's just not getting enough, if you're not getting enough sleep, you know when it's time to quit. And don't feel bad about it, Mom. It's perfectly okay. You're the mom. You know your baby. You know your mental health. You know what you can do. You are in charge. And you are awesome. Good luck to all my new mom friends out there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'm a very open person and I will happily answer any questions that I can. Remember, moms, you're doing a great job. Say bye, Rylan. Bye.